That's doing him some good.
It's not doing his bowling any good.
All right, we're live.
He could be the target next selection.
I look like I'm about
50.
20 years younger.
That was interesting footage you said, Norman, about playing at MCG.
What's that?
I said that was interesting footage you sent about playing at the MCG. I'd keep that under wraps if I were you. So.
Oh, come. So are you telling me as the chairman of selectors you wouldn't have selected me? Is that what you're telling me?
Well, I think that sort of when you speak on this program, it's all full of knowledge and intelligence, and it's rather undermined by that playing clip, I think.
I don't know whether I like that.
All the poor Indian fans are sitting there thinking, "Oh, poor Mr. Graveney wouldn't pick Norman for England."
Well, I mean, there were two videos, David. There was one that was better than the other. Maybe you looked at the wrong one.
Probably, yeah. So I humbly withdraw my comments then, if that's the case.
Good afternoon, everyone from Music Harming. Good evening, Norman, and good morning. I like that. I like the way Music Harming's done that. He's articulated the time zones and everything.
Morning, Music. Morning, Deep as well. It's the first comment in a long time that Deep Barrett has said something nice. So
is that right?
he'll get back to being he'll go back to being Pommy hating in a minute. I'm sure. There we go. 3-0 back to the Mother England. They go. Thought so.
Did you like my survey about who had the best fan club? Did you like that? 3 Norman Kochneks and then somebody called Chris and some girl called Pretty.
Milan Vith Ayathil. Good morning from Austria. We've got we've got a worldwide audience here. Good morning, Milan. We had some good questions from him yesterday, so good to see you back.
We've got a lot, and it's nice to have David here. And although there were 2 of David before, there's only 1 now, which is good. Barnstead boy, he sent me a friend request on Facebook, but I've got too many friends. I've got to get rid of one to put Barnstead boy on. So.
I wouldn't get rid of any for Barnstead boy. Trust me, I wouldn't.
So Barnstead boy, I'm fully aware that you're there. I haven't had a chance to sort out my Facebook. So impressive, yet scary. The selections. Well, it looks like Liam Livingston's in. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it announced he was in.
Pretty's here. What time is it where you are, Pretty?
It's midnight.
Well, that's civil.
Pretty, how are you?
I'm very good, David. How are you? Good morning.
Fine. Good morning.
And yes, guys, I did almost stuff it yesterday when I got everybody to join when there was not a thing, but it was all right. We worked it all right. So I was just commenting on, Liam Livingston looks like he's going to get a berth. Milan will probably get a berth as well. Chris, correct?
Yeah, I think so. So I was just reading a comment from your poll yesterday, Norman, about when you voted. SK Rohan said, Chris looks like a handsome actor, Pretty looks like a beautiful actress, and ... you look like a brutal and ruthless villain.
A what?
A brutal and ruthless villain.
Is that with a hat on or off, Chris?
That's Norman. He's been, SK Rohan, watch out. If Norman's as threatening as you think he looks like, then just sleep with one open, I think.
Well, the reality, it was a very fair poll. I only put 3 my name down and kind of put Pretty's name and kind of put Chris's name down. It was funny, wasn't it, though? Did you think it was funny? Please tell me it was funny.
Of course, it's always funny, Norman. You are one of the most amusing men or people that I know
in the world.
Yes, this is true.
Although the one guy got offended and said, "You've demeaned Pretty." I said, "I was joking, for God's sake." They said something like, "I was demeaning you because I said some lady called Pretty." Oh, come on, seriously. All right, so thanks, guys, for joining us. This is yet again a bumper day of cricket, second ODI. Having Sri Lanka played West Indies, that ended up being a draw. Quite a good game. Did you see any of that, David?
Yeah, I did. Very unusual result for a test match.
Yeah.
It includes Sri Lanka and the West Indies. So, ebbed and flowed. Showed the characteristics of test match cricket, Norman.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Swing and swing all over the place. So
love it.
I think some guys, particularly on the Sri Lankan team, had some success where they've had a pretty tough winter. Speaking to Simon, I think politics is yet again quite prominent in Sri Lanka. Well, politics in the country over sort of swells into the cricket area as well, because the sports minister selects the key officials. So if it's change the government, then it's they had the diamond celebrations of them winning the World Cup last week.
I saw that.
And somebody who was on the stage was a guy called Anna Punchahewa, who was the president at the time. And he was, he was my best friend at school, actually. We shared the same dormitory. Right. And he taught me through all the maneuverings that they managed to do. Because I know this is a long time ago, 25 years, so excuse me for going back in time. But there was a huge controversy about some of the countries not playing in Sri Lanka because of the security risk. And the ICC originally determined that the points of the matches should be given to the opponent, not Sri Lanka. And they managed to overturn that. To actually, if you're not going to come, then fine. Give it. It was either neutral or whatever. But had they given it to the opposition, Sri Lanka wouldn't have qualified.
No.
And history wouldn't have been written in the way that it was.
Well, there are amazing stories about the run of a match being told to the commentary box before the match actually played. In other words, what transpired in the game was actually spelt out literally. And that when you hear things like that, you begin to wonder what's going on.
Yeah. They have some, have you ever been to Colombo? No. I
was married to a Sri Lankan.
Oh, right. So, you know where the Gull-Face Hotel is, on that huge lawn, right? So they had mass celebrations there. One of the funniest things was when they won the T20, the crowds gathered again, probably not quite the same way, because I think the match was shown on big screens on the lawn during the World Cup. So the fans were told that actually the team were coming towards them on that huge lawn in a public bus. So they hijacked the public bus thinking the team was on it, but it was just the normal civilian bus. There were passengers on it who were suddenly momentarily being greeted as international cricket players, but in fact, actually, they were just normal members of the public. So,
wow. Yeah, I was married to a Sri Lankan for some 14 years, David.
All right.
And my ex-wife was actually very close to a lot of the Sri Lankan players because she went to French school with them when they were in their teen years. Like Arjuna Ranatunga, Oshri Weerasinghe, who didn't play Test cricket, but he was well known. The whole bunch of them, they were all from Ananda College, which was one of the Olcott Buddhist schools there, right. Nalanda College. And I got to know the Ranatunga family, all six brothers, and of course four played for Sri Lanka.
Yeah, and if they weren't playing for Sri Lanka, they were chief executives. So.
That's right. As in Nishantha Ranatunga, for example.
Yeah.
Arjuna was chairman at one stage. Sanjeeva and Dharmika. Some interesting days, I tell you. But
yeah,
I was very privileged. I would spend evenings at Arjuna's house, and on the roof he'd have Wainapura, you name them, every Sri Lankan.
They'd all be there. So
yeah, very common. It was quite a special thing to be exposed to, and I can thank my ex-wife for that because she was in amongst it. So I was very fortunate to be able to get that.
Yeah, you might have met Anna actually, because he spent a lot of time with the guys who played in the team at that time, whether it was Aravinda, or Arjuna. He was. If you were talking about captains who changed the course of matches and the fortunes of an international team, he's up there as being a.
Oh, for sure.
He changed the whole way that Sri Lanka played.
Absolutely.
And they got quite close to the line. We played a one-off test match where Murali took I think he didn't take every wicket, but he very, very nearly did. And I think Sanesh Jayasuriya smashed 170, and it sort of, I think we'd just beaten South Africa and we're going to go to Australia, and this was supposed to inspire the guys to go to Australia, and it backfired. I can remember arriving at the Oval because we weren't allowed really to influence the wickets, but I did say to the groundsman, given their strength in spin, maybe if it didn't spin from the first ball would be helpful for us. And I can remember coming to the ground on Tuesday afternoon and meeting Angus Fraser coming up from the ground on the steps, going the other way. Angus's humour is always somewhat slightly sarcastic, and he said, "Grav, you haven't got enough spinners here. I think you need to go and get some more." And there was not a blade of grass on the wicket. and Arjuna decided not to. He won the toss, and to surprise everyone, he actually batted. He put us in, which is very unusual to do. But his rationale was that he didn't want Murali, to bat and get a huge score. And then for Murali, he had to keep bowling for 3 days. So he just wanted to break up his spell. So
quite clever. It was quite good. He's a brilliant tactician. Yeah, it's I mean, I won't go into everything because I could talk forever about Sri Lanka and my experiences there, but I think I've just about had all the experiences you could possibly have, having met all the players, having like Niroshan Dickwella was a 14-year-old and his parents wanting me to take him to Australia to play cricket. So I said, no, he should stay where he is. And he's now obviously the keeper, through to Dinesh Chandimal hanging around Arjuna's house with Arjuna's son Dion. They were very good friends. And he was a young whippersnapper back then too. So I know those guys really well from a long time. And they're a very special place, though, to Mal. And of course, the female cricketers there, Shapali Rukoti, a number of others I'm very close to. So I must just up front also congratulate Simon Willis. Now, he's not here now, but he's starting a fledglings podcast during the summer, where every fortnight he'll have his own podcast with another with one of his counterparts, and I'm very happy for him. He's obviously a doyen like you are, David, and even Chris of England and the cricket there. So I think there's a great story there to be told from
Simon's done fantastically, Norman. He and I, together in the team, the little group that we work with for the ECB, we were all made redundant just before Christmas, which is not the best time to be made redundant. And you got two options in life. You can sit there and do nothing and feel sorry for yourself, or you actually get off your backside and actually start a new business. And he's done brilliantly.
Oh, I'm so proud to have him involved with us. And obviously I've known him for a fair while through the cricket structure in Sri Lanka, and he's always impressed me, so I'm ecstatic for him, and I wish him all the best. So that I'm not sure when I think it's starting. I'm guessing sometime in the summer, but it's going to be fantastic. It's really.
Well, he's also been hampered if his main and he's an outstanding coach. His CV is frighteningly good. Should be engaged professionally in England in some capacity. So they've chosen not to do that. So Easter time, and he's also been hampered by the restrictions around COVID that you can't do one-to-one coaching. So his whole area of work has been compromised to a degree. But hopefully from now on he can do it. And he's been overrun with people who want to join the fledglings sort of.
There it is. There.
Group.
There's his fledgling podcast, and it's
You don't have to give him too much advertising.
That's right. Oh, so he's with Jamie Reid. I don't know Jamie personally, but
no, I don't recognise the name. I must admit, but
yeah, good on him. He's well done, and he's been a great part of this, and so have us all. I think Chris has come a long way too. I think he's got how many fan clubs now? 4, 5? I
don't know. I'm just reading the comments, and there's someone's named their channel Chris Vernon as well. So I've got a phone.
Oh, it's getting out of hand now. My God.
Look at the Norman Kochnick fan club in the comments. Yeah, Chris Vernon Club.
You're saying that Livingston's going to be playing then, Norman, is he?
They announced he's playing. Yeah. They announced he'd be playing.
They actually had an interview with him very early in the morning, my time, and I posted that. He was talking about being in the side. He must be the replacement for Owen Morgan, I guess. Directly.
He's a product of the under-19 system in England. He actually he went on an under-17 tour with me to India. Yeah. He hit it in tall arcs. Very, very, very talented. You know, he could bowl off spin and leg spin, depending on who's at the other end, really. So if the defense are right-handed, left-handed batsman, it changed the way he wanted to bowl.
So, but he doesn't bowl spin now, does he? He doesn't bowl too much now.
Yeah, he bowls quite a lot in the domestic competition at home. He opens the bowling. You know, he's sort of like a Glenn Maxwell type. Like he can bowl a few overs in a 2020 if required. So I guess it's another option, isn't it?
I don't think he'd be featuring as one of the nailed down 5 bowlers for India. Let's put it like that.
No.
I think you need.
But will he bowl today?
They might do. Yeah. I'm always of the belief that without making it ridiculous, that if you've got 2 strings to your bow, then use them. But it seems to me on that wicket there that actually bowling, well, depending on what time of day it is, but you know, it's not spinning like the I've never seen that. The last time I was at Pune is actually when they were building the ground. So God knows how long ago that was. So it looks a really good wicket. I think Johnny Bairstow would like to carry that around with him.
So they're saying that the debut of Liam Livingstone has been confirmed. He's been handed his ODI cap, and there's no Indian cap been handed out. So they're implying that Punt's coming in for Iyer. Which
we suggested yesterday, didn't we? Which I said, because they can just shunt KL Rahul up to number 4. Which, let's face it, I think if everyone's in form, then KL Rahul is one of their first names on the team sheet. I think in form, I think they see him as one of their better batters. So, we said that could happen. Be interesting to see who keeps. I imagine that they might keep it as KL Rahul just to not upset anyone. But David Malan's going to play for England as well, I think, by all accounts.
I'm excited.
Squad. I mean, he's got all, you know, the T20 side. If England he's got the best strike rate and the best average. So why they don't think he can translate that into one-day cricket is beyond me. So no, good luck to him. And then you might also see a change. I think you might see Topley come in for Tom Curran as well.
Oh, that's interesting. I want to see him. How do I get rid of these stickers? David, do you have any idea? Chris?
You're giving Deep Barrett too much airtime.
Get rid of it. Or maybe this is how you get rid of it. Oh, no, there's another one.
He's pulling your leg, Norman.
Someone called Amit. I think it was Amit. Norman.
Sorry?
I think Amit said, oh, no, here we are. Look. Amit Shrivastava. Norman looks 1,000 years younger.
You do. You look great, Norman. You look like you've.
He's got a big game at the weekend, guys. He's got a big game for the Sydney Cricket Ground Pensioners 11. So he needs to be in fine form.
Well,
the centre parting, Norman, is a very youthful look.
To be fair, Grav, I reckon after seeing Norman's video, I reckon you must be dusting the whites off, mustn't you? You'd still.
I knew the time. I knew the time to finish, Chris. So I managed to play. I threatened to play lots of games with my son when he was at school, but obviously I was a professional cricketer, so that didn't work out. So we managed to play in a MCC centenary match for a village somewhere near Stratford. Beautiful day. He got 5 wickets and I didn't get any, so I thought enough's enough, really.
I'm sure you did pretty well that day. So just quickly, just on my day, I actually drove somewhere and I felt sick and I had to stop the car and, vomit.
Wow.
And I was on my way to a game.
Lovely.
There was a game between the Australian Federal Police and the New South Wales State Police. And I was going to do a media coverage for a friend of mine because it was for a Pakistani foundation. I was going to go there, but I didn't even make it. It was down in Barrel, down at Bradburn Oval. So I'm a bit disappointed. I didn't mow. I was a mess. I'm fine now. It was almost like I got out of my system. So yeah, I've had a pretty poor day.
That's
So,
a lovely ground, Norman, isn't it? The Barrel Oval.
Fantastic.
Norman, all I would say is don't look in the mirror before you go out if it's going to make you throw up.
Almost funny. Borderline funny.
Oh,
Pretty laughed. And Grab laughed, so it's fine. Two.
but I
Nice.
laugh at anything.
That's the first time.
Anything I say, maybe.
We saw Brett Lee bowl, because they used to play a friendly sort of just after either New Year's Day or something like that for the one-day squad. So we went down there and he played in it, and we had this unusual thing of having to play with the circle restrictions of fielders, but he bowled so fast that actually the slips had to be outside the circle, because otherwise we would have hit him on the head. So that was our first time ever seeing him bowl. So, and as it followed New Year's
Love
Eve,
him.
I would have to say some of our team were not in the best condition. But there you go.
Wow. There used to be a game called the British Parliamentary 11 that used to tour when an England team toured Sri Lanka. And Arjuna would arrange down in Seenagama, down towards Gaul there, where Kusha Gunasekara has his Foundation of Goodness. Did you ever go there, David?
The Foundation Grand, yeah. The one that Surrey and the MCC have contributed
Exactly.
to. Yeah, no, it's a lovely ground. Yeah,
It is.
Really nice.
It's where the tsunami.
I did a lot of charity work after the tsunami because my friend Anna, I wanted to make a comment. So I managed to acquire lots of cricket bags from the Lord's Taverners, who are a charity pretty in England, and they're just like bat stumps, the basic stuff to start playing cricket. So Anna and I, and together with his uncle, who was a retired MP, did this trip from Colombo to Gaul, stopping at all the station schools on the way because they'd been absolutely flattened.
Yeah.
This is where the train was as well, the Merrilies Foundation. So we had to take his uncle, and Anna had to admit that actually he could, because he was educated in the UK, he couldn't speak Sinhalese, which is a bit of an embarrassment. So we had to take his uncle as a translator. So we met the kids, and all the kids dressed the same way, if you remember, Norman. They've all got blue shorts on, white shirt, or a blue skirt, depending on, or irrelevant where their background is. And it was an uplifting experience because everything was in a manual state in terms of registers and things like that. So the headmistress would come out with the whole school, all sort of smartly dressed and whatever. We dropped the bags off, and she'd show us sort of a spreadsheet, for a better description, of list of the names of all the pupils. And it started off with the cricket kit they've lost, the bat, the gloves, the pads, or whatever, followed by, also, by the way, my mother died, father died, grandparents died, as if the cricket kit was, I'm sure it wasn't in their mind, more important than their own family. But it was, so I went there for about 2 or 3 years, delivering kit all the way around that part of the coast. So.
How fantastic. What a great thing, David. That's fantastic. It was such an uplifting place to be. I mean, it also hit parts of India as well, but Sri Lanka was probably one of the most devastated.
But the level of corruption was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
I went back 2 years after the actual event of the tsunami, and there was still Red Cross 4x4 still in the harbour because nobody was prepared to pay the right person the right money to get them off the harbour. It's just scandalous.
Yep, I'm afraid that's one thing that happens in that country a bit too much. So we've got a Norman Kochnick fan club, and Nalakshi Sharma was saying it's not her, but how are you, Uncle Norman and Uncle Chris?
You're an uncle now, Chris.
I'm a young. If I'm an uncle, Norman's a great grandfather, I think. So.
Oh, here we go. All right, so back to the pitch report. Ajit Agarkar and Deep Dasgupta, my mate, reckon this pitch is even better for batting than the one for the first game. And firm, hard surface the ball is expected to carry through. The length you bowl will be important because of how flat the pitch is. So we're going to see a belter and a lot of runs, looks like.
Yeah.
Good. So, Chris, on the last one, I didn't really see the conclusion of obviously watching the score. Did the dew play a fact?
I think that it probably played a little bit. I think England just ballsed up the chase, didn't they? So it didn't really play much of a factor at all, really. I personally don't see England's game plan changing. If England win the toss, I think there's 90+% chance that they'll chase or bowl first, as Norman likes us to say. That's just.
Everybody should be saying it, not just me.
That's just. It's that hindsight, Norman, about winning the toss. He just wins. Who actually tosses the coin these days? Is it the referee?
No, the home captain tosses the coin, I think.
No, the home.
Say that again, Chris.
The home captain flicks and the away captain.
It is Norman. It's relevant to Chris won't know this or Pretty won't know this. I am the only captain in the UK to have actually been taking part in a game that was decided by the toss of the coin. This is before people bowled at stumps or anything like that. And it was in a quarter-final of Benson against Middlesex. Mike Gatting was Middlesex's captain. We had 3 days to decide what we're doing. It just rained for 3 days. A bit like what's happened at Brisbane versus...
Doesn't sound like England.
No, it doesn't sound like Bristol either. And they wanted us to play darts, golf, or whatever. So they ended up with tossing a coin, which I unfortunately lost. And that's the one and only time it was being done. We won every single game leading up to that match, and then proceeded to lose every other game after it. So,
wow.
But it ended up with one of Simon Willis's teammates. He wasn't playing, but we were playing Kent the following game, and we were a bit depressed, very depressed about the outcome. And the Kent opening batsman said, unfortunately, it was overheard by some of our team, that actually the toss of the coin was the best chance of us winning the match. So some of our opening bowlers took great offence to that. So the opening spell of the first hour was X certificates, I would have to say.
There's so many stories around tosses, though. It's quite. Yeah. I mean, the way that they do in the BBL, they throw a bat, don't they? In the flats versus. Is it hills? Or
it's just a gimmicky way of getting another spot. I'm assuming that the bat is the Red Bull, the Red Bull rated X blue bat or something, isn't it? Like a See It Tires bat or something. It's going to be a gimmicky way of getting a sponsor plenty of airtime, isn't it? It's not. It's going to be a named sponsored bat, like
it's with the referee being present or umpires being present, it's a much fairer system. Because I played in a game at Leamington Spa, which is near Coventry, that sort of area.
Yeah.
Not Leamington Spa, but that sort of way. And Bob Willis, who was then captain of England, played a rare county match. So we were playing on a greenish wicket. So I walk out and he wasn't necessarily interested in playing county cricket. So we announced the team. He's a bit disinterested. Pulls a coin from his pocket. So I'm basically standing to his left. So he tosses the coin and it goes to the right of his body. So it lands on the ground. He goes to pick it up and said, "I've won the toss, so I'm fielding." And I didn't see the coin. So I'm thinking to myself, well, this is the captain of England. Do I assume that actually he's using a bit of gamesmanship here? So I didn't.
England have won the toss, and
I was just going to say, I bet you they'll win it again. And is this the same thing? They're going to bowl first?
Yeah.
Yeah, Josh Buttler is
big mistake.
Three changes England. As I said, it's England.
You're right. You know, listen to their press conference. He was so adamant that he was going to follow through with this strategy, even though it has not worked the last three times. It might not work again. But
I guarantee that in the heads and Grav will know what it's like, having been in those meetings, that there would have been 100%. They wouldn't have sat there going, do we change it? Do we bat first? They would have 100% said no. This is our strategy. It's worked for 4 years in the one-day game. I know it didn't work in the T20s, but you see them as separate things. They're not.
Yeah, and it's different when you're in the case of India. If you keep losing tosses, you have no choice. You have to accept what's given to you. So you adapt and almost there's some freedom there, I think. But there's almost more pressure
the power
when you
of
win
the
the
toss,
British.
right? Yeah, because Chris is right. They have decided what they're going to do. It just is a very, very, I think, sometimes quite dangerous tactic, because there's such a difference of the ball becoming damp. But if it was a day game, because if you keep chasing, then actually your bowlers don't know what to do if they happen to be bowling second. So it is.
And even to self-outgrab, they're not chasing 10 out of 10 games. They're just probably chasing 6 out of 10 because.
After I lost that toss, Chris, I did a lot of study in terms of tosses and things like that. I can remember we played Australia in 2011, and they struck a coin. Oh, sorry, 2001. And we struck a coin which had Bradman on one side and the Queen on the other to commemorate the series, and we lost that 5-0 in terms of tosses.
Oh.
So what did you call that? Bradman or Queen? Is that what you call that? Or
well, that's what they were asked to do. Yeah. So Steve Wood. That is the series where Steve Wood damaged his leg. There's a fantastic picture of him getting 100 at the Oval.
Official Sai says hello, everyone. What did I miss? You missed a lot.
You missed a lot.
No, you're fine.
Rishabh Pant, the only change for England. But Mark Wood's out as well, and Reece Topley's playing. So they've gone with Curran again, which is not a lot of pace in England's bowling attack today. So they obviously
have they released India's team? Do we have Sky and Pant? We have Sky and Pant and no Rohit.
Just Pant, so Rohit plays. Which I thought he'd play. I said to Norman yesterday, we were talking about it, and Norman wasn't sure if he was fit, and I kind of thought that he was fine. He would be fine. He would play. So.
Rohit is fine, but they could rest him. I mean, they could.
Yeah. It's still a bit iffy. I mean, it would be pretty shook up by it.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you get hit on the elbow and you don't have a scan, I would suggest it's not that big a hit.
I'm saying if you've been hit there and battered for an hour, I know it might be sore, but nothing's broken, nothing's that you can't bat.
If you don't scan
hurt your arm that badly.
Yeah. Well, is he wearing a guard though? That's what I want to know.
Well, you don't wear a guard on that arm.
True.
They're counting.
You get hit on the underneath of the right arm, which
that's true. That's true. Yeah,
that's normally what you do with very quick, fast bowlers.
So okay, Chris, the team's not coming up anywhere that I'm seeing. Could you read out the team with great deliberation, please?
Yeah, I've got it here. Actually, I've got it literally on my phone now. So India is the same team. It looks like Pant will go to 5 and KL Rahul will shift up to 4. Which is fair enough. And then England is Roy, Bairstow, Stokes at 3, Milan at 4. I imagine that you'll probably see Milan bat at 3 or Stokes will bat at 4, but I don't know. They might. Stokes is the kind of character that would say, no, I'm staying at 3. Livingston 5, Butler 5, Livingston 6, or they'll mix it up. And then Moeen Ali 7, the 2 Currants 8 and 9, and then Topley 9, Rashid 10, and the other one 11. Who's the other one I've missed? I'm useless. Who's that?
So both Currans are playing. I thought Tom was going to be out.
No, we thought they might, but they've left Mark Wood out.
Okay, interesting.
Which will probably be a.
Well, I think they have to manage his workloads, Penny. I think that actually.
He also did get whacked the other day. He did go for some runs at the end. So, and Tom Curran. He went for a few runs, but he bowled okay at the end. He wasn't the most expensive, so I think
that's his strength, Chris. I think bowling at the end and change of pace and things like that, because he doesn't seemingly on these wickets with this ball, he doesn't do a lot sideways, and it doesn't seem to be swinging very much. So change of pace is the only way you can go.
The other day, maybe that India. It did swing a little bit early on, and maybe the pace off the ball is harder to score. So, the one good thing about the England and their selection is that they give guys a plenty good chance. And I would say that Tom Curran is certainly coming to the end of his chances, but they're sticking with him, and that's got to do his confidence a lot of good. And he's played in the IPL, he's played in the Big Bash. These guys are good enough, and eventually he'll put in a performance. So hopefully it's today.
But I haven't watched, without knowing that stat of only 1 wicket in 9 one-day games.
Yeah,
I never got the impression visually, Chris, that he was bowling that badly.
No, I agree with you. He just you just never think he's quite good. You never think he's quite doing enough with it, or he's not quite quick enough, if that makes sense. So I mean, I don't mind they're sticking with him, but I guess if you add in Jofra Archer, he probably misses out. So it's not like he's England's first pick. He's similar to a couple of the guys playing in India's side today. There are people who come back into that side in a full strength 11. So I hope he goes well. It's an important day for him, I think. And Reece Topley, it might be him and Sam Curran open the bowling, and you don't see many 2 left arm combinations at the top of the order in a one-day game.
Well, I think
Norman, is Kuldeep in, or is it Chahal that replaced him?
No, they only made 1 change, India. So they're sticking with Kuldeep.
There's talk about the Indian bowling line. Okay, they won the match, but they're talking about the Indian bowling line not being strong because of the state of the pitch. What's your thoughts?
Not being strong in terms of
not a wicket-taking bowling lineup considering the pitch.
Well, I disagree, because I think Sam Curran can get anybody out with a new ball. The earlier he bowls, the better for me, because I think that's interesting to see how Dhoni uses him in the IPL. He gets him to bowl pretty early on, because he swings the ball generally, and he would have when he made his debut against India in the Test matches, he would have made a real favourable impression. He just seems to get people out. And also, Stokes if there's a partnership, Stokes is the one who seems to always break it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for sure. His bowling should never be underestimated, should it? It's magnificent. He took 3 wickets last year.
Not that I know the full details directly, but I think the England medical staff have done a fantastic job to manage his fitness and his knee condition, for him to sometimes bowl real aggressive, 8 or 9 over spells, which he did like in South Africa in a Test match, where he hasn't seemingly bowled at all, and then suddenly pops up and then bowls a huge spell. Because it's not for lack of wanting or trying. He's never going to shy away. It's actually he's got to be managed by the captain. Say, no, you can't bowl because it's we've got to manage your workloads. So.
Well, my beloved South Sydney Rabbitohs are playing tonight, which follows this night. Have to have a shout out to 2 people there, Michael Peake and Frank Maley. Both Michael Peake and Frank Maley, I know they're watching, and they're at the South Sydney match. So I'm actually going to convert all of India to be South Sydney Rabbitohs fans, by the way. So we're going to find an English side that we want them all to support too. Chris, you said Liverpool, is that right?
Well, I'm a big Liverpool fan. I don't know who Grav supports, but
yes, definitely. In memory of my brother, and my son. My son has been in deep depression since Christmas.
I think a few of us have, to be honest, but you never know. Things can change.
Yeah, let's say that I think Christmas cards to Jordan Pickford aren't going to happen too often from the red side of Liverpool. So.
That's very true.
Yeah,
that's very true.
I mean, look, it's still outstanding the way that Well, I'm a little bit sad because this is our second last game in India, and this particular series is over.
Yeah, but then we have the IPL, Norman. So it's all
you have 2 months.
I'm talking about India versus England. I'm talking about.
True.
That means I don't have to be.
We have 2 more days to really hammer Chris.
So hang on, you're going to be
the batsmen are thinking. No, the batsmen are thinking. Well, it's only another 4 years before we come back and have another trial by spin.
Those guys will be looking forward to going home. I fear. I think. as anyone would be, on any tour. It's not.
No,
Right.
the last couple of games before the aircraft is warming up on the tarmac, is very difficult to get people to keep focusing on the game unless it was real.
A heavy loss.
All or nothing, or I just get the feeling in this one. I don't know whether you guys think the same way. It's not quite carrying the same importance as the test matches,
the
obviously,
test and the T20s.
And the T20 is part of the planning for the World T20. The next World Cup, it seems miles away. So
it's 2023.
Yeah.
So both sides will change a lot by the time you get to that. So.
You would think so. KL Rahul, now it's not the KL Rahul who was about to go on the field, but hope now England won't make excuses, which they did in the Test series, even after they were full strength in the Test. And the T20, they were all full strength, while India were dull strength. Okay, all right. I think he's made his point.
Good point.
What I would actually have to say to him, to counter what he said, I think the responses of both captains have been very honourable. They never sought to blame anybody. They just congratulated India that they played the better cricket, which is true. So, which is the right way to go. So, Biram Irani, who's one of our members, was laughing at your pensions comment, Chris.
Oh.
Well,
my fan club came right back. In fact, they're also a pretty fan club. I consider my fan club is a pretty fan club.
So you have a joint one, whereas I have mine.
I have a real fan club. Excuse me, not this foo-foo, club with one person and God knows who it is.
There's two fan clubs on here. They're
thousands of actual people in my fan club.
Me too.
I have never gravitated to that stage, Pretty. You'll be pleased to know. I've got files of aggressive letters saying, "What are you doing?"
Well, we are remiss because we need to have a David Graveney fan club too.
Yeah, I don't seem to get lots of questions aimed at me, Chris, on whatever people who are responding.
Well, they're so used to having Pretty and Chris on, David. We have to get you on more often. Yeah. And your lovely wife is giving some
breakfast.
Breakfast.
Hello, good morning.
How are you?
Hopefully it's sausages, egg and bacon, Grav.
What are you having breakfast, David?
No, hot cross buns.
Hot cross bun.
Oh, lovely.
It's nearly Easter. It's almost Easter.
Easter, yeah.
The eggs and bacon follow after that, Chris, so don't worry.
I thought you did say that Mrs. Graveney will be
this is just an
so.
Unfortunately, my eggs and bacon is somewhere on a highway between here and Barrel, but I'll leave it at that.
So what sport are you going to watch, Norman?
It was a game of cricket between the Australian... Oh, now, you mean now? After rugby league between the South Sydney Rabbitohs and the Eastern Suburbs Roosters. It's a big match.
Come on, the Roosters.
The Roosters.
I'll give you a Rooster. I mean, you dare
go. I do not
for
support the Rooster.
Chris, you'll be deleted from every possible communication.
Well, you're going to support India today. You're going to cheer India on today against England, so I'm going to cheer the Roosters on against the Rabbitohs.
You dare.
They're not worth it, Chris. The Roosters are not worth it.
I don't care.
Idea, Chris.
They're better
when I came over, my first winter in Australia, I landed, and the day after I landed was the grand final replay between Collingwood and St Kilda, and I cheered Collingwood.
That's AFL, yeah.
Well, Collingwood's a hated side too. You go for all the hate.
Yeah, but I said
everyone hates them.
I cheered them on because all the Aussies were cheering St Kilda on, and also I said, well, Paul Collingwood is an English cricketer, therefore I'm going to cheer Collingwood on. Day after landing,
the price of fish. And anyway, St Kilda looks more English than anything. The colours.
Alan Didak, Andy Cracker, Dane Swan, they stuffed them up the Collingwood. Still cheer them on now.
Yeah, but St Kilda's got the red, white, and blue. They're your country's colours. What are you talking about?
That doesn't mean
Norman,
anything.
Who is your least favorite league team? Is there one that you really despise?
The Roosters.
Oh, them. Okay.
The team that
Go Roosters. Go Roosters.
So where are they based, Norman? The Roosters.
Around the corner from me. I'm from Coogee. Coogie's on the border of South Sydney and Eastern Suburbs Roosters. Eastern Suburbs, which is Bondi, all the snooty suburbs, and then you reach Coogee, which is beautiful, of course, but that's the demarcation between South and the Roosters. So I'm right.
Norman
right
lives
next
on
to
the
border.
in the Bogan side of town, Grav.
Right.
The
Sorry.
westy side of town.
No, well, South's not Westy. That's by their very
Bogan.
name. They're not Western suburbs. They're South Sydney. South. You know, Chris, you understand the word South?
No, I just said I know. I've heard that Coogie's a bit Bogan. That's all.
Oh, from,
Most of Sydney is a bit bogan.
Yeah, true.
are you
They're
implying that
scattered
Coogee-
everywhere.
David, back me up here, please. Someone
Feral,
else, please.
feral. That's the word, isn't it?
What's the three games that Queensland play New South Wales at? What's
State
that
of
called?
origin.
So-
State of
Yes.
origin.
State of origin. That is the most brutal sport I've ever seen.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's teammate against teammate, isn't it?
Absolutely. So, Chris, who do you go for New South Wales versus Queensland? Now, let's see. Who do you go
I
for?
don't follow it enough. I don't have a clue.
I bet you he goes for the Maroons.
Honestly, Norman, you could have sat here and said any other team in the world are playing the Rabbitohs today, and I'd be cheering them on. I don't have a clue about rugby league. It's not well, Grav will tell you, rugby league and rugby union is a big sport in England, depending on which side of the north-south divide you're on. Rugby league is a massive sport up north, but you come down south and no one plays. I think there's one side in London that plays it. It's quite
London's
bizarre
right,
how
right.
it's split between that's Leeds, Wigan, St Helens. They're literally all up north, and then you come down south, it's all rugby union. So it's a very
Great
odd
amateur professional divide, Norman.
Exactly.
A lot of
Exactly.
people went north to get paid to play rugby or earn a living. Now, fortunately, playing rugby union, you get sizable amounts of money. So I'd spend a lot of time watching Bristol play, Bristol Bears, who are top of the table. But they've got actually quite a number of South Pacific ex-rugby league players playing rugby union.
Simon Willis has got time to like my LinkedIn comments, but he's
He
not
just
here.
messaged the WhatsApp group and said he slept through his alarm this morning.
Yeah, tell him to come on. Tell him to come on. Tell him to come on.
We've only got 10 minutes, haven't we?
I don't care. We want to congratulate him for fledgling cricket.
Yeah,
Where
we
is
need an update on the
I
business.
said to him that he needs his beauty sleep, so we can understand it.
No, he was all primed and ready at 6:30 yesterday. He was very upset, Norman. He had to get up early.
Well, it's just this Tim. It's just Tim for organisation, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
We come to
God.
expect. Just come to expect it from Norman. So
Is he coming?
I don't think so.
Probably not.
I don't know. I haven't messaged him.
I've just said come. I mean, look, he's very well. I mean, as is David, as is Adam, as is Simon. You're all very well respected. Chris, on the other hand, well, if he goes to the Roosters, I've lost all respect for it. How dare you? I'm going to buy you a Rabbitohs hat.
I promise you now, if I will be cheering the Roosters on. I have no idea. I don't even know what sport it is. Is it rugby league? Did you say?
It's league.
There's
Okay,
steam coming out of my ears here at the moment.
I used to enjoy Red Rooster as well when I was in Australia. It's quite a nice.
Well, Rabbitohs eat roosters for breakfast.
They won't be today.
That's right.
Oh, I tell you what, fighting words, that is. Okay.
Chris, is that rugby league you're talking about?
Yeah,
Or
rugby league.
Australian
Yeah.
rules?
The South Sydney
What
Rabbitohs.
happens when it's Australian rules, Norman? What do you do then?
He'll be a Swans man, won't he?
Yeah, I'm Sydney Swans. Yeah.
Right.
The thing
There's
about
only a
rugby
couple
league
of
is
sides in Sydney, isn't there?
South Sydney have won 21 competitions out of 108. That's virtually 1 in 5. That's an amazing record.
Does Russell Crowe still own?
Yes, absolutely. Russell
Awesome.
Crowe owns the Rabbitohs. And we have a great coach called Wayne Bennett, who's been around for 40 odd years.
He's been in
Very
the UK,
successful.
Wayne Bennett, hasn't
Yeah,
he? He coached the GB team.
exactly. Well done. Exactly. He's a great man.
So went on to bigger and better things than the Rabbitohs.
Oh, God. You know what's really funny? I was in a hotel and Shripali, Wirikoti, Nilakshi and Ramana, we were all fighting over something stupid. And you know who got in the lift? Wayne Bennett, this coach. And Wayne's hearing Shripali go, I don't want to do this. And I'm going, you're going to do that. No, I'm not going to do this. And she's carrying her like a pork chop. And the girls got out, went to their rooms. And I went down with Wayne. And Wayne said to me, Norman, I think we need to talk. He didn't know me from Bar of Soap, but he heard the girl say my name, and we were talking. And it was so funny.
I love it.
He had the time he heard the conversation because they were in a bad mood about something, and they were. Yeah, it's really funny. Anyway, you had to be there. All right. Who have we got? Official. So, unfortunately, K. Yadav may be replaced by Shahal. Is that?
He's not. There was confusion, I think, at the Indian end. They thought that Chahal was in, but I think it's been corrected. It's only one change. India have gone the same.
Okay.
Well, they can't make three. How many debutants were in the last game, Chris? 2 or 3?
Two,
wasn't it?
2 bowlers.
Very good.
Kane Williamson's back again.
There's a few comments saying he needs to be blocked. Apparently, he's mouthing off and saying bad things again. So maybe he needs a holiday from the chat.
Well, maybe it's the real Kane Williamson. Then no, I don't think so.
Okay.
What, swearing in Urdu or Hindi, or whatever? Yeah.
Well,
Oh my
I don't
God,
know.
this is so hilarious.
If there's one bloke on the planet that I don't think is on here swearing in Hindi,
Definitely
on your
not
Greek
him.
channel, it's Kane Williamson.
that makes it all the more bizarre.
I mean, if it is him, I think that would be brilliant, but I don't see it.
Well, there's a KL Rahul as well. Obviously, it's not him either. I mean, he's on the
Can you imagine him
pitch somewhere
sat there with his
getting ready
pads
to
on
play.
going, I'm just watching Norman. Give me a sec, Virat. India lose a couple of quick ones. Can I go in at 5 today? I'm just finishing off the podcast.
So
You go on, Rishad.
Simon said, I've told Simon to come in his PJs. Hopefully he wears PJs.
Yeah.
I wonder, official side, who's
his
this reckon?
hair done, that's all.
All right. Who do you reckon this is put towards? Official side saying, it was lovely listening to you. Who is you?
He said, guys, the 2 posts above, he said, game time by guys. So he's collectively.
All of us.
Are you the collective you? Or as a South Sydney supporter would say, use. That's wrong, of course. Is there, okay, David, Chris, you're obviously English laureates. Use, is there a word? Obviously not.
No.
Not. Well, I wouldn't. I think that people probably say it in, I don't think that there's any
Slang.
yeah.
No. All right, so game time, boy. Is it game time?
Okay. What are everyone's predictions?
That's a great question. David?
I would go for 1-1. In other words, I think England will win to make it 1-1, so the last game becomes live.
Mm-hmm.
I think, Chris, sort of, I think it really depends on, they've had a long, tiring tour. I mean, they're just on the verge of coming home. Sort of, are they focused to do? I'm sure they are, because there's opportunities for young guys who are only just embarking on this journey. So, yeah, it's be interesting to see how Liam goes, because he's a really talented cricketer.
I hope he goes well. So it just shows how intelligent the Chris Vernon fan club is. They're saying Australia will win. They're obviously really with it. Very bright bunch, the Chris Vernon fan club.
Very dodgy. It's a dodgy.
So, yes, pretty to answer your question, I think England will rectify the score.
Excellent. I hope it happens, actually.
Well, that means it's going to be, because I don't need to listen to the other 3 predictions. It means that 2 of us are predicting England will win and 2 are predicting India will win. So there you go.
You know what? My original prediction was that India would win the first one, they would lose this, and then they would win the third one, winning the series. I changed my prediction. Yeah. They will win today, and they will lose the third one. So, yeah. I just...
You're suggesting they only lose... You're suggesting they only lose dead rubbers, then? Is that what you're saying?
No, I just swapped my thing around. I just get a really good intuitive feeling, just like I did the last game. I thought, no, they will win. Everyone said they will lose, and I said, no, they're going to win it. And they did.
But you also predicted like some of the team changes, which I didn't agree with you on. Like, who did you predict? You predicted...
But that was a collapse. You couldn't have predicted that collapse of England.
No.
135 for naught.
No,
was
there
a
was a team selection. You thought Punt would be out, and I thought he was going to be in, but that was not the case.
That's right.
But
he's
it's a little
in
bit
today.
like that
I
procession.
thought they would give Sky a go today. I really thought they would give Sky a go today. They could have if Rohit wasn't playing. But I guess he is. So maybe the third game he'll get a shot.
So what did they lose the 10 wickets for, Chris, in that? So they were for 135 for naught?
About 100, I think. Yeah, it wasn't their finest moment. And they'll go the same way. England won't change. England will come out swinging in the power play, and it worked, didn't it? I know that the rest of them collapsed, but
Brought back memories of my debut as a Gloucester captain, where we managed to get bowled out in an hour from being 16 for no wicket at 12 o'clock. By lunchtime, we're all bowled out.
Wow.
Can't happen, particularly with Gloucestershire's batting. And it was in the paper described as the second best procession of the day because it was the same day that Princess Diana got married.
Oh
my God. So
I played in a game before, Grav, so in League Cricket in Kent, if your first team Premier League starts at midday, and then the second team game, which is slightly shorter, starts at 1:30. And I played in a game where we batted first and got bowled up for 34, and we'd finished before the second team had started. Yeah. They knocked it off in 4 overs or something, and we were done at 1:15, and the seconds hadn't even started their game yet.
Yeah, I managed to lose a 2-day game in a day, which takes some doing, against West Indies under 19s. That's actually playing. Not being.
So hang on, we've got Music Harmony saying he's predicting the total would be a 330, 350 wicket. It's quite possible if the wicket's flat.
Yeah.
Devaraj Max says he agrees with Pretty. Sky will be missed. And there was another one that I thought was interesting.
I think India know what a good score has to be. I know that England will obviously bowled out for 240, 250, but they'll know that they'll know what England are capable of, and they showed what they're capable of by setting up that early wicket at the first innings partnership. So India will be wary of that. They won't take England for granted on that. They'll know that they probably.
The average on this for the first team batting is 292. So it's you can get you have to get 320 to have any chance.
And
so
what is
India
the percentage
has to make those runs?
Freddie, what's the percentage of sides winning batting second? What's the average?
I think it's 50-50, I think.
I think it's probably a bit more I'd say more in the favour of batting second would be in favour of that. Maybe that's what I would normally say.
They looked at the last 4 games and it was 2-2. That's all I know. But the average is 292.
But before that was 13 games in a row or something. 13 games in a row was pretty heavy. So Paresh Kotarak, I can't pronounce it. Paresh Kotarak. He says that KL Rahul will actually blast today again with a question mark. I hope Rahul takes it by the scruff of his neck.
I think Kohli is going to go for another 50.
Well,
maybe more.
Well, India have got that freedom of batting first. There's an element of freedom batting first, isn't there, really?
Yeah, it's not.
There will
always.
be a lot of runs made today. That's for sure.
In a 50-over game, it's not a done deal chasing because the 50 overs allows you to post a massive score.
It's true.
And whatever the conditions, runs on the board are creating their own pressure.
Yes.
The old scoreboard.
You can sustain it in a 20-over game, 10 and over or whatever sometimes, but if you're talking sort of 8 and over, 7 and over for 50 overs, that is a lot to do that.
That's true.
So, Music Harmony's been talking to Anurag Karan. He's asking whether he's Indian. So, all right. Okay, so at this point in time, the game's about to start, and we've predicted. Actually, have you got my prediction yet? I'm saying India 3-0.
Wow. Okay.
You're right, Chris.
I knew. He said the other day. I knew not what no one predicted. I knew it was coming.
But was that your original prediction or was it 2-1? It was
Mine.
2-1. Yeah?
I
It's
can't
2-1.
remember.
I think he changed as well.
I think I'm having a bit of Alzheimer's kicking in. I may have said 2-1.
Norman changes like the wind, Preeti. You know, it's.
I do not change.
I'm so tempted to say 3-0 too. Look, if they win this, it may be safe to say it may be 3-0. So let's see.
Chris, I think if you remember my recollection of the original predictions, I don't think Norman actually gave a prediction about this.
No, he just floats
Touche.
around. He's a bit. It's a bit. He's just upset that the Roosters are going to do a job on the
Roosters
Rabbits.
are not
Rabbitohs, the South Sydney
They're not
Rabbitohs.
I mean, what
will
type of
smash
sport?
Those bloody
What
Roosters.
type of sport is your team called the Rabbits?
No. You're an ignoramus. They're not called the rabbits. They're called the Rabbitohs because Rabbitohs kill rabbits. Don't you know anything about bloody the teams though? They're not called the rabbits.
The Sydney Rabbits.
Google Rabbitohs.
I've seen you bat, Norman. Rabbit springs to mind as well.
Rabbitohs
No, I know
kill
about that.
rabbits. They're not rabbits.
Is it an Australian? If I said you bat, you're a rabbit. Do you know what I mean when you bat? Grav will know what I mean where you bat. So maybe Norman is a rabbit batting and a rabbit by team.
Nobody calls them rabbits. Nobody.
The
calls them
Rabbitohs.
Exactly. Rabbitohs kill rabbits. They not rabbits. They kill them.
Not much of an animal. If the biggest.
I've never seen you so possessed before, Norman.
How dare you call We're not called assassinating rabbits. Rabbitohs.
Roosters versus the rabbits. I think I'll leave the cricket on somehow.
Not
There's
the
word,
rabbits.
there's another word for a rooster. I'm not going to say it on air. There's another word for a rooster. It's got 4 letters.
Chicken.
So just changing the subject, Norman. What do you like at geometry?
Not great. No, I'm pretty good. I was
He's Australian, Grav. They're not very clever, are they?
No.
Geometry. Are we talking?
I thought you might be able to resolve the problem of the tanker in the Suez Canal. They're having a bit of an issue.
God, that's a diabolical mess.
Quite
Billions
funny,
of dollars waiting for that. For God. I mean, I remember cos, tan, and cosine, but that's nothing to do with
Trigonometry.
That's trigonometry, correct? Very good.
Yeah, but I can't remember your prediction, Norman. I think you're just changing as you're going along.
He said Roosters 25, Rabbits 12.
No.
David, are you jumping on the Chris Vernon? Look, again,
English stick together, do you know. So don't worry about it.
So, Chris, Rabbitohs, go look it up. Learn about what the team's name is.
I'm on the Rabbits.
I'll give you rabbits.
I think you need to buy the eject seat for Chris.
Yeah, I will learn how to do that.
If there's the Roosters and the Rabbits, is there like the turkeys and like the east side turkeys and the northern mice? Sounds like a bit of a.
No, there's a program in the
not
UK.
An animal farm.
Graham Norton, who's
on
a Friday night, who has a red chair that people get interviewed in. And if he doesn't like what they say, it just flips over.
That's right.
Oh, I'm going to get one of those. There'll be a day, Chris, when we're in the same room, the same so-called studio. Heaven help you. Heaven help you.
Not our choice, there won't be.
You're suggesting that's going to happen in Antigua, then, Norman, or not?
Oh, definitely happening in Antigua. You're going to be with the fledglings cricket touring group, and David's going to be there. And we're going to have Mervyn. Oh, I can't wait for that. Mervyn's the best host.
I'll be there in my Roosters cap.
You'll be. You know what? I've heard that in Antigua, if you're a Rooster supporter, you get lynched.
They don't but they eat rabbits out there as well.
Like they can eat rabbits because we're the Rabbitohs. We kill bloody rabbits. We're not a rabbit. Would you get it right?
I think they're the rabbits.
Get it through your bloody head.
The Coogee Rabbits. Anyway, the game started, so I'm going to head off and go and watch my breakfast.
All right, guys.
Quickly, predictions of Rabbitohs. Well, I want 4 scores. Rabbitohs versus Roosters. Go. Pretty. What's the score?
Rabbitohs 34-12.
David?
Who are they playing?
The Roosters. Rabbitohs are playing the Roosters.
Chris, who are you wanting to win? The Roosters?
Yeah, we're cheering the Roosters on the graph.
Right, Roosters 30-36.
Chris, here we go.
I'm going to go, and I'm going to sign off straight away. I'm going to go the Roosters 28, Rabbits 10. Bye.
Oh, gutless. He's a gutless wonder. Gutless wonder. The Rabbitohs will win 42-2.
Wow. That's
That's
one
why-
hell of a game.
That's very one-eyed, Norman.
Well, that's exactly right. Why would I be? I mean, Rabbitohs, who actually probably have one eye, for God's sake.
You're supposed to be on this
Rabbits.
program giving a balanced view, like everybody else, about what's going to happen in the
Oh, well,
sporting arena.
It'll be well plastered all over the airways when they win. All right, guys. Thanks for that. I really appreciate it, David. It's been wonderful. Pretty's been wonderful. Chris, not so wonderful. He's gone. Anyway, I can say that. The fan clubs exist. We'll have to get a David Graveney one started soon. And Pretty, you've already got one. You've got a whole channel. So, all right, guys. Sayonara. Auf Wiedersehen.
Yeah.
Goodbye. Oh, guys.
Namaste, guys.
Bye-bye.
Go Team India. Bye.
Bye. So, ciao. Oh, I'm going to say goodbye to you guys now. Don't forget to view, like, and share the posts. Make sure you go about sharing and subscribing and grow this channel with me, okay? And become members if you want to. So all the best, guys. Take care. Speak to you after the game. We'll be here post-game, okay?